It is that fundamental belief, I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that makes this country work. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Some people are divided by religion, yeah. Oh, yeah. Some people are divided by their greed, yeah. Some people are divided by deception, yeah. Oh, yeah. Some have a lot of money but still in need, yeah. The time has come to help your hurting brother. Time has come to think about your sister. Can't turn a blind eye to their need, yeah. Share some love to help your hurting brother. Share some love to help your fallen sister. One God, one faith, one destiny, yeah. It's time for unity, yeah. Deception is tumbling down, live in unity, yeah, yeah. Division must be broken down, unite in dignity, yeah. United under God we stand. Unity is power for all. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Well, everything around us is changing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nothing will ever be the same, yeah. Limitless scope for transformation, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yet no one has the answer for the pain, yeah. Selfishness and greed have many blinded. Heartlessness has many people suffering. Why can't we see our brothers' pain, yeah? Children are hungry and they are crying. Mothers are hurting and they are sighing. Yet all we care about is gain, yeah. It's time for unity, yeah. Deception is tumbling down, live in unity, yeah, yeah. Division must be broken down, unite in dignity, yeah. United under God we stand. Unity is power for all. Time for unity, yeah.
COVID-19 is destroying many countries around the world. Many people are now worse off as inflation continues to spike out of control. Yet, salaries remain fixed, which is forcing many people to take drastic measures to maintain their standard of life. Single parents can hardly make ends meet, while husbands and wives are now struggling to keep their families together. Even when both parties are earning a salary, income is still not enough, and this is forcing many to borrow, which only plunge them deeper into debt. Lifeline Financial Programs is the only financial support program in the BVI which stretches your income so you can afford more. Lifeline generates money on your money so you can better take care of your family. Lifeline helps you build cash reserve and set your mind at ease, while our strategic financial plans transform your life. Guaranteed. Opportunity comes but once. If you lose it, it is gone forever. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Get registered with Lifeline Financial Programs today and let us help you transform your financial life. Lifeline Financial Programs will help you stay ahead. See us at 4 Mill Mall or call 540-4555. Or email us at lifelinebvilimited@gmail.com for a registration appointment.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
Okay, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to another version of the Raw Truth. And of course, this evening is absolutely a very special presentation. Uh, as you know, we will have a very special guest this evening, and I think this is quite interesting as we shift the focus on something a little more positive. We've been looking at all kinds of crazy things as they happen across the world. Now we have something very positive that's coming at us, and it is coming at us straight out of the nation of Jamaica. Of course, we haven't had a very special feature out of Jamaica in a while, but tonight we have a gentleman who will be doing some absolutely wonderful things, or who has been doing some wonderful things in Jamaica. And by virtue of that position, we are here on PSI Network to share this with you wherever in the world you are listening or watching us from. We welcome you on board. Please share this with your friends. Go to PSI Network if you're just joining us, or if your friends need to join us. Of course, you want to share this because it's going to be a very interesting presentation. You can also go to PSI live presentations on YouTube as we share this amazing presentation with all our friends across the world. The man is sitting in the waiting room, our special guest, and of course we have quite a lot to chat about tonight. But before he comes, we are gonna take another short break, and of course when we come back, we'll be presenting the gentleman himself, the lion behind this crazy program. We will get back to you with this in a moment. And of course, our guest this evening, the man himself, YASUS AFARI, a very popular name perhaps to many people. I'm not sure where you might be watching from if you have ever heard the name, but YASUS is the mogul behind. I'm not sure what you would call it. This is not poetry. It's a mixture of poetry, music, performing arts in general. It's an absolutely crazy presentation, a crazy mix. And of course, PSI Network is here to feature this amazing presentation, which will be coming at you in August. Of course, he'll be telling you much more about it. August 2021. And of course, we will be broadcasting it to you live from right here on PSI TV, PSI Network, PSI Online Radio, PSI live presentations or live broadcasts on YouTube. It will be coming to you from all the platforms that PSI is connected to. And of course, it's going to be an amazing presentation. Let me open the platform to you, my guest, and I'm sure he'll be very delighted to introduce himself, tell you a little more about himself, and what in the name of Jah he's been up to all this time. The man himself, YASUS AFARI. Greetings and honor. Welcome to PSI.
Yes, greetings and honor, my brother, Kenny G. That was quite a generous and kind mouthful. I'm absolutely delighted to join you. We like the look and the sound clean and look clean, and we like the energy.
Yes.
So full
PSI.
congratulations. Full
PSI.
congratulations to the PSI family, the PSI network.
PSI.
We want to take this opportunity to greet our listeners around the globe with honor, love, and prosperity. One earth, one love, one humanity. We are in a crisis. We are on the mothership called planet Earth. So we have to look after each other. One origin, one shared planet, one shared history, one shared existence, one shared future. And so it's good for us to look after each other in the sisterhood and brotherhood of humanity. We're happy to be here. Thank you.
Tell me something, sir. You have been the producer of this amazing program. And I'm sure many people across the Caribbean region are yet to learn about this program. An amazing presentation. And this year it seems to be getting bigger and better. Can you, first of all, tell us a little more about YASUS AFARI? Who is the lion, YASUS AFARI? Tell us a bit about the man himself. Tell us a bit more about yourself.
Well, I was born several decades ago, and my mother named me John. And then decades after, John named me YASUS AFARI. John means God has shown mercy and favor. YASUS AFARI means a gift of vision. So YASUS AFARI is John transformed, providing the vision that will help the people to navigate these turbulent and challenging times of our ancient future. And so I was born in deep rural St. Elizabeth in Jamaica. One room mud house, no television, no radio, no electrical appliances, no running water, no electricity, no clock, no watch. We would have walked 6 miles to get to school. We had to go into the bushes to look sticks to make a fire. We have to go to the parish tank, the reservoir, to catch water and carry our heads. I was only one of the siblings who did not walk barefooted to school. So that gives an idea that we were supposed to have been impoverished, yet we were happy. We live close to nature. We look after each other. We pass down even underwear, school book, everything. So it takes a village to raise a child was what was in actuality. And so in the fullness of time, I attended Rosal Basic and Primary School, Junction Secondary, then St. Elizabeth Technical High School. I worked at the Jamaica Telephone Company for about 2 years. I won a scholarship to the College of Arts, Science and Technology, now known as the University of Technology. I was the vice president for the Student Union, which was responsible for cultural and social activities on campus. And as such, I organized a fundraising activity for the Commerce Department and decided to do a performance, which is called Dub Poetry. It was so well received, and I was so empowered and inspired and humbled by the response that I figured this would have been what would take me through life. I worked at JPS, Jamaica Public Service, the Light and Power Company of Jamaica, for a few months. And then I decided to venture into my creativity, including craft and poetry. I did my first recording for GG Records called Anti-Little Law, but my very first release was actually called Feel Like Crying, so that was the birth song, if you may. And so, I teamed up with people like Garnet Silk and Everton Blender, Tone Rebel with the Christian Soldiers. I staged the Garnet Silk birthday bash and the first 3 staging of Rebel Salute. We did a YASUS AFARI tour. I was invited by Ducky Simpson Black Uhuru to record with the group and tour with them. So my very first tour was with the Black Uhuru. We did 32 states in America, including Hawaii. We did 12 European countries. We did Brazil. We did the Caribbean. And we did some spot dates both in Europe and in North America. And then on the 23rd of February 1993, I was doing a performance for the Jamaica Music Industry Awards, where myself and Muta Baruka were both nominated. He won the award, and he called me on stage and said I was more deserving of the award than himself. I was reluctant to accept, but I did after I consulted with audience and got a consensus. And we got a standing ovation. This was live on TV and on radio. And so I got really a significant national and international spotlight as of there. And then that sort of propelled us to where we are now.
Wow. And you have traveled. The whole point is you have traveled an absolutely amazing journey with the program. You got an award. You have been exposed to all the people in the business. You have grown the program over the many years. How many years are you doing this now? Tell us.
Okay, right. The short answer to that will be 11 years. This is the 11th annual staging. But however, we were in Ethiopia in 1996 on the 29th of February. Long story, but the short of it is that I was inspired to do an event in Jamaica on the 29th of February 2004, which is Poetry in Motion, and that is doing 19 years, becoming the longest annual poetry event in the history of Jamaica and arguably the English-speaking Caribbean. It was a genuine community event, so we seek consensus with whatever development or decisions we're taking. And so people, Grace Kennedy in particular, had wanted us to tour it around the island, which was a part of the mandate, hence the name Poetry in Motion. However, the people objected to that. And listening to the people, I decided not to go against them. And so I decided to develop an event called Jamaica Poetry Festival. Poetry in Motion is held annually in Mandeville on the last Sunday. And we developed this event in association with JCDC, Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, during the 50th year of Jamaica's independence. And so it was held at the Louis Bennett Garden Theatre. And it's really, has creative writing workshops in the day, free to the public. And we have a poetry feast starting at 7 p.m. at night at the Louis Bennett Garden Theatre. However, in 2020, we had to abandon the physical staging for a while due to the pandemic that we are currently going through globally. And so we staged it in association with the RGR Gleaner Communication Group at the TVJ studio last year. So our 10th anniversary was celebrated virtually, and rising to the occasion because people were telling me to postpone the event 1 year now, go kill your YASUS. And I said, no retreat, no surrender. So I got an idea. Rather than surrendering or retreating, we decided to invite 10 countries on board to celebrate our 10th anniversary. And so we had poets from Iran, South Korea, Botswana, Netherlands, England, Canada, USA, Trinidad, Barbados, and Jamaica. And it was a smashing success. And this year, we had the 18th staging of Poetry in Motion virtually again. And so now we are poised for the 11th annual staging of Jamaica Poetry Festival, Jamaica's premier and supreme national poetry event.
People think that poetry is boring, YASUS. They think poetry is for children. Poetry is something that you do when you have nothing else to nothing else to do. Tell us about your style of poetry. Talk to us about that.
Well, first of all, when I after cast and JPS, and I told my mother that I'm going to do dub poetry, she kiss her teeth. You know, Jamaica kiss them teeth for 5 minutes. That you think them out, extract them teeth. And so the mother kiss her teeth. You laugh, so you know what I'm talking about. The mother kiss her teeth and say, boy, you ever hear say poetry can yam? And so, you know, that's reflected the attitude. My girlfriend abandoned ship because, you know, you turn workless because you talk about poetry and Rasta and African more works. And then that reflected how the society looks at poetry as you asserted.
Yes.
And so coming from the colonial construct, that's a narrative that is perpetuated by virtue of the elitist approach. However, if people took some time out, they would remember that a song, by definition, is a poem set to music. So every song is a poem, but not necessarily every poem is a song. So we add value in terms of my style, in answer your question more pointedly. We add value. So we, for example, Poetry in Motion is music, dance, and comedy, storytelling, fashion, and poetry, because there are elements of poetry in the entire spectrum of the creative and performing arts. And we incorporate those elements into poetry. And so our poetry, you know, we step out looking fashionable. We do things which are danceable, relatable. We tell a story. We have musical accompaniment. We have dramatic interpretation. We have dance interpretation. We have dramatic and theatrical interpretation. So we actually make redundant that false narrative and that claim that poetry is boring and only for children or only for the elite and so on. No. Our poetry is edutational. And so while you are skin your teeth and have a good time, you are learning something in your head to help you better navigate the realities of life. And so with our two programs, Poetry in Motion and Jamaica Poetry Festival, we have debunked that false claim. And so our event, people laugh till their belly button burn them. People are fast things jump out of them head. People get up out of their seat and run up and down and come sit down back. You understand me? I said, because remember, we are Miss Lou Pickney, my brother. If you listen, Miss Lou, the penultimate mother of poetry, and arguably the mother of the Jamaican language and culture. She does it in such a way that you laugh, you enjoy yourself, you think, you're challenged, you're inspired, you move to tears, you move to laughter, you move to reflection. And so we continue that tradition. If you would have looked at the works of Benjamin Zephaniah, who we presented at Poetry in Motion in February, he continues that tradition. But Brethren Mutabaruka is like a comedian. He continues that tradition. Mikey Simit, if you were to be familiar with his work. Jean Breeze, if you were to be familiar with her work. And to some extent, Linton Grace Johnson, as well as Okunur, had that kind of humorous element to the work as well. We, similarly, we do that as well. For example, at this 11th staging, last year we presented Daddy Hurod. At this 11th staging, we'll be presenting Ernie Simit, who is the top 6 greatest guitarist of all times. And so we bridge the divide between the different expressions within the creative spectrum, and we bridge the divide between ethnic and racial and religious and linguistic groups. So we are about one earth, one love, humanity. It takes a village. Ubuntu, I am because we are. And so our approach is like that. And so it is fully educational, entertaining, and educational at the same time.
Education. Listen, sir. People might believe that they and maybe some of our listeners might have the same concern. You look at this program. What has been the support for the Jamaica Poetry Festival over the years? Give us a synopsis of how that has been looking up to now.
Right, give thanks. That's a good question. Well, all the questions have been brilliant so far. What happened is that we approached the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission. They are responsible for cultural development in Jamaica. They are executive agency of the government, and the parent ministry is the Ministry of Culture, currently designated as the Ministry of Gender, Entertainment, and Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sports, headed by Olivia Babsy Grange, one of the hardest working ministers in government in Jamaica. Now, what happened? We approached them for the 50th anniversary celebration and offered them the inaugural staging of Jamaica Poetry Festival as an offering in commemoration of Jamaica's 50th anniversary. They took that on board, and so that was one of the first principal support that really got us started, as well as JIC, Jamaica Insurance Company from Grace Kennedy, subsequently renamed Grace Insurance, GI. They helped, as well as First Global, Western Union, and there are several other companies. And over time, and especially last year, we had support from the Jamaica Tourist Board, Tourism Enhancement Fund, the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports, Jamaica National Bank, NCB. We have some sponsors from as far as Scotland, Australia, Cayman Island, Cayman Adventure Tours. We have so much more, and the Canadian Embassy in Jamaica, they have been supportive of us from 2018. And so we see the support we get from corporate Jamaica is a reflection of the fact that we debunked the idea that poetry don't have that impact and appeal. And so in particular, Jamaica Tourist Board and the Tourism Enhancement Fund, the Ministry of Culture, as well as Jamaica National, they have been helping us to position poetry as an emerging, potent and new industry that speaks to education, social responsibility, environmental awareness and responsibility, as well as something that is educational and different and appeal to the taste of the entire family. So our events actually are really appealing to the entire family. And the family that works and play together, stays together. And so we are clean, intelligent fun for the entire family and community. And so that has, especially with the crisis that we are in and the degeneration of social mores and attitudes and behaviors, they have seen how we have been stable and consistent in terms of offering to the nation something that is palatable, something that is empowering, uplifting, inspirational, and educational and entertaining at the same time. So we can't really complain. We could do with a lot more support, but we are grateful so far. And because we turned hand make fashion and responded to the crisis with positivity, we have now extended our reach. Last year, for the very first time, a poetry event has been broadcast live on television in Jamaica. That has never happened before. Previously, we were the first to be broadcast in its entirety live on radio, which was IRA FM as well. They also streamed Poetry in Motion this year. So we're making leaps and bounds in different respects. And so we have now been able to secure the formidable support of PSI network. And that's another great achievement in our minds for us. And so that covers the British Virgin Islands and further afield. We have also secured the support of the African Dream, which is a cable station in Washington, D.C., that accesses 250,000 households per episode. We have also get the support of KCN in Anguilla, as well as the PBCJ, which is our main media partner this time around. They are the public broadcasting company of Jamaica, which succeeded JBC. JBC was succeeded by TVJ. And so the Public Broadcasting Company of Jamaica is a statutory body that operates out of the office of the Prime Minister. So give an idea how the society, corporate Jamaica, and the general masses are responding to the Jamaica Poetry Festival.
Wow, that's a mouthful. The man YASUS AFARI himself, the director of this amazing program. Now a historic presentation right here on PSI Network, as we will be featuring the program, which will be hosted in August. I'm sure he'll be telling you much more about the date and what is happening a little further on. Right now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have a special presentation from the man himself, a poetic presentation, which will kind of whet your appetite as to what you might be getting a little further in the program. We come back in a moment.
The last thing we always hear after trouble strikes is, "If I had known." It is dangerous to take things for granted, then find yourself alone in deep mess with no one to turn to. Only you and you alone will suffer the consequences. Serious changes are taking place around the world, and things will get tougher in the Virgin Islands. Yet many of us continue to hop along our merry way, sadly uninformed and unprepared. Regardless of how safe you may feel, you will soon realize that unless you have a strong support system in place, life will become very difficult. This is why we must take immediate steps now to secure ourselves by becoming a member of a strong support system before things are too far gone. Lifeline Financial Programs is the strongest support system you can ever have. Lifeline offers the best option for social, financial and emotional support as we prepare to meet the challenging days ahead. Lifeline is the only program which offers not only financial support, but social and emotional support as well. Regardless of what anyone may say, if you do not have strong financial, social and emotional support moving into the trying days ahead, you will face some very serious challenges. Lifeline Financial Programs provide the most reliable support as we prepare you to meet the challenging days ahead. If you have a job, find us now before your situation change for the worst. Take me seriously. Don't allow things to fall apart then you say, "If I had known." Get registered with Lifeline Financial Programs today. Protect yourself. Let us shield you against the tough days ahead. Call us at 540-4555 or see us at 4 Mill Mall today for more information.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
Okay, welcome back. And we have with us Mr. YASUS AFARI himself, the king of the poetry fraternity in Jamaica. I call it fraternity because it's much bigger than we can imagine, and I'm sure that he is set to conquer a lot more grounds as we move forward. I'm gonna play you something that he did, and this might be interesting for you to listen. Take a listen to this. We'll come right back in a minute.
Screw till you blue and wrinkle, or smile till you smile for your dimple. Oh no, now go violate for me temple. Let me tell you that plain and simple. Oh no, now go violate for me temple. Let me tell you that plain and simple. Evil doers come with long nigger, searching for the strong and feeble. But the humility and no simplicity, and we people now go take no more brutality. The Almighty guide and protect we, so make we lead out the redemption army. Burn down Babylon this 21st century with them hypocrisy and them idolatry, contaminating for we humanity. Oh, you can't violate for me temple. Let me tell you that plain and simple. Oh no, now go violate for me temple. Let me tell you that plain and simple. You could have screw till you blue and wrinkle, or smile till you smile for your dimple. Oh no, now go violate for me temple. Let me tell you that plain and simple. Oh no, now go violate for me temple. Let me tell you that plain and simple. Them turn the whole world so blinking twisted, polluted, corrupted, and schizophrenic. But start defending the national morality. Come make you rush them and gang them and conquer them. Conquering lion, so you know we got sent. Season and spice in the idol them. Rise and shine again and again, Mama Africa. Right here and now, don't ask me when. Oh, no, can't violate for me temple. Let me tell you that plain and simple. Oh no, now go.
All right, and that was just a snippet of YASUS AFARI, and a very sweet little woman. I'm not sure if she's in a place tonight that I could have a chat with her as well. But it's an amazing synergy between father and daughter. Something you don't see, you don't find, not normally. They are both involved in this business of edutainment. Absolutely interesting. Tell me something. So, where is my queen tonight? Is she anywhere?
No, not where I am at this moment. But certainly going forward over the next few weeks, based on your partnership support, I'll arrange for her to have her spotlight. We kind of do it in mouth-sized bites, because she's still at school and doing some programs. So she did a really intense media campaign the other day. So we kind of make sure refocus on our academics thing and then roll her out in the holiday a little bit more. So we'll have that in mind. However, as you rightly said, what happened with this plain and simple challenge, which became the plain and simple movement that helped to propel the plain and simple song and music video, is that, as well, sometimes my daughter argue with me when we talk like this, but I know she'll understand. She's a little bit more than my daughter. She is like, it's strange to say, but sometimes she feels like my mother. How she will, admonish me, be very assertive with me, check up on me. What have you eaten since morning? What time did you eat? What did you eat? Kind of thing like that. And she's like a business partner. She's like a friend. And obviously she's my daughter. So it's a very interesting relationship. because she's so confident, she has such empathy, she's wiser than her age, she's so loving and caring. We care about each other, what we think, we value each other's opinion, and we consult. And so once I wrote that poem, I brought it to her, and we worked it through, and she asked me to explain certain things. She insisted I wouldn't take no for an answer, that I changed certain lines, which shows our grasp of the subtle nuances, I would say. And then she interpreted certain elements of it so dramatically that I took mental note. I didn't say anything to her at the time. I took mental note, but I was doing some research online to find ways and means to connect with the younger demographics. And so we decided to do a challenge. And then that note, mental note that I took of her, how she dramatized, you could have screwed to your blue and wrinkled, a smile till a smile for your dimple. And so we recorded that and threw it out as a challenge. And before you say who that, we got responses from over 20 countries and counting. And so that propelled the release of this digital single, which was released on June 4 through Zodiac Worldwide, so it's on Spotify and all the major digital platforms. And then we premiered the video on that same day, which is available on YouTube as well. And the challenge now has been growing, so it has actually transitioned from the Plain and Simple Challenge to the Plain and Simple Movement. And the movement is about empowerment, social awareness, social responsibility. Environmental awareness, environmental responsibility. And we are harmonizing social and environmental awareness and responsibility. And so those themes are embedded in the theme of Jamaica Poetry Festival on Sunday, August 8th. And so while we are focusing on the global diaspora, we are focusing on sub-themes of social accountability, social advocacy, social responsibility, environmental awareness, advocacy, and environmental responsibility, and how these two things are compatible and like glove and fingers, if you ask me. So we are infusing the notion of climate justice and environmental justice, and we are infusing the notion that poverty, reparations, repatriation are also environmental issues, because they are central to the human being, who is a central troublemaker in the environmental degradation that we are now having.
Tell me something. The entire production this year seems to be perhaps much bigger than previous productions. Can you give us an outline of the new season? What should we expect from that? Talk with us.
Right. As you said, bigger and better. Last year, we accessed little less than 1 million people as an event that normally had a physical audience of between 350 to 500 people. So we have turned this pandemic crisis and situation into something that allows us to add value and to have reach. And with the network of support we are having, inclusive of PBCJ, Public Broadcasting Company of Jamaica, as well as the PSI, the Caribbean, the Voice and Sound of the Caribbean, as well as the African Dream, which focuses on the Pan-African community, as well as the Africa diaspora in the United States and beyond, as well as our other partners, KCN and others. So what happened is that for this year now, because we have a broader platform and building on what we had done last year, and getting certain level of support that we are getting currently, we are presenting now a plate which is unprecedented and historic. For example, this year we have the one and only Linton Kwesi Johnson, who is a Jamaican who migrated to the UK in the late 50s as part of the Windrush generation. And he is the only living black poet to be published by Penguin. And Penguin is the biggest book publisher in our times, and certainly maybe of all times. And so we have him, plus we have the 6th greatest guitarist of all times, Ernie Ranglin of Bob Marley fame. We also have the Jamaica Poet Laureate, Dr. Olive Sr. We have Dr. Velma Pollard, former lecturer at the University of the West Indies and one of our Caribbean iconic literary giants. We have Coco Lorraine from Canada. We have B Expressive Soul from Canada as well. We have also Akinsanya from Portland, Jamaica. Certainly myself and Mick will be making our first performance as a duo. We have Ernesto from Brazil. We have Bob Guns from the Netherlands. Listen, we have a lineup, plus we have people from Angola. We have, who else we have from Canada? We have about 3 performers from Canada. We have people from the United States of America, several others from Jamaica. And so we are presenting a formidable plate of very potent performers that are at the top of their game by any standard anywhere in the world. And so we start at 2 p.m. sharp because of the current COVID-19 protocol instituted by the government of Jamaica through the Ministry of Health. We want to be socially responsible as well. So we are working within the protocol, the confines of the protocol. So we start at 2 p.m. Jamaica time. So different people can work it out for their different regions. It's a 2-hour program and we start on time. And so we'll be presenting, you know, not an extended performance by anyone. Some people 5, 10, 15 minutes. So it is an eclectic mix of the entire spectrum of the creative and performing arts centered around poetry.
August 8th is the date, and of course it plans to be an amazing presentation, and of course we will be broadcasting it live right here on PSI Network across all platforms. PSI Network, PSI Online TV. You can go to Facebook, at YouTube at PSI Live broadcasts, and you will see that there as well. PSI TV on Facebook, on YouTube. So it will be everywhere. PSI Online Radio. It will be all across the PSI Network as we share this wonderful production with all our guests across the world. YASUS, the Jamaica Poetry Festival began in what year again? You said started. Talk with us.
2011, when Jamaica was commemorating its 50th year of independence, and so this year is our 11th annual staging. But please allow me. I can't leave out Ambassador Shauna K. Richards, who is currently the Jamaican ambassador to Japan, and she will speak to cultural diplomacy, which is what we are practicing with the arts, and so she'll speak to that. We also have somebody representing the Asia Pacific region in the form of Dave Collymore, and we have Steve Wise, who has worked with the likes of Boyz II Men and Stevie Wonder. He's from Philadelphia, but he's currently in Jamaica. And so, you know, we have an interesting mix, plus we have a surprise guest, and so on. So just that I wanted to inject that, not to have anyone feel left out of this amazing program.
Well, let me take you back to the YASUS and his daughter. They did. It's a piece of poetry, but it would come across more or less like a piece of dub poetry. I like it, and I'm sure you will also love it as well. Plain and Simple it is called. A very interesting piece. Let me give you another piece of it, another little piece of it.
Screw till you blue and wrinkle, or smile till you smile for your dimple. Oh no, now go violate for me temper. Let me tell you that plain and simple. Oh no, now go violate for me temper. Let me tell you that plain and simple. Evil doers come with long nigger, searching for the strong and feeble, but with humility and no simplicity. And we people now go take no more brutality. The Almighty guide and protect we, so make we lead out the redemption army. Burn down Babylon this 21st century with them hypocrisy and them idolatry. idolatry, contaminating for we humanity. You can't violate for me temper. Let me tell you that plain and simple. You not go violate for me temper. Let me tell you that plain and simple. You coulda screw till you blue and wrinkle, or smile till you spoil for your dimple.
YASUS AFARI himself, he and his daughter, little Queen Mick. Goodness gracious, I've never seen a father-daughter production of this magnitude in a long time. I think this is something absolutely highly commendable, and I think it is going absolutely worldwide this time around, as we right here on PSI Network will be broadcasting this live presentation, which will be hitting you August 8th. I want to make sure that I have the date right. And of course, we have right here with us YASUS AFARI, the king behind the madness, if I call it that. It's going to be an amazing production, and it will be staged across the world, this time literally. How does that make you feel, my king? Tell me what's going through your mind right now as you put all the effort and the energy and the plans in place to facilitate this historic event. Talk with us.
Well, first of all, with people like you being so kind and generous, using terms like mogul and king and chief and lion behind the thing, well, that's straight up empowerment. And so I feel empowered. But because we're humble, we feel humbled and empowered at the same time. So we feel a sense of responsibility. We are very passionate because we are driven by passion and purpose. And this is something purposeful we are doing. So I feel good. I feel encouraged. I feel uplifted. I feel elevated. I feel grateful. I feel thankful. I feel inspired, and to whom much is given, much is required. So I feel like I just want to give it my all. And so I keep focused. We're getting a lot of support from all across the world. For example, plain and simple, the first 4 features that we got for plain and simple did not mean Jamaica. We were featured in Ghana in the United States before TVJ came on board, and CFM and the Clean and the Observer and others. And the social media platform, they have been supportive as well. And it has extended and continued to grow from what we did last year with Jamaica Poetry Festival. And so we are getting tremendous support. A day don't pass, I'm going to have an interview feature somewhere in the world. And people keep reaching out for different reasons, wanting to perform, wanting to support, want an interview, want to share our flyer, want to share information. So we really feel blessed, my brother, and feel grateful and feel thankful. And here we are at PSI, less than, little over a month to go. And we are now having the opportunity of the support of your formidable platform with a critical mass that we want to access and that we want to support. And so we are creating synergies, and we are building institutions. And we, as people who have been disenfranchised and have been reduced to chattel by the indignity of the transatlantic genocide, we are a people who are unconquerable. And so we refuse to die, even though we were crucified on the international cross of slavery and colonialism and burdened to the sepulchre of death and captivity. We refuse to die. So we become the only holistic and authentic and indigenous response to the transatlantic genocide, breathing new thoughts, new values, new hope, new perspective, new love into the temple of the family of humanity. And so we would like to think that we are playing even a small role within that Africa re-emergence and reassertion, so that we can reinstate Mama Africa to our position and throne of honor and glory that she is organically entitled to, and that she brought first to the human experience on the planet Earth, and she has been reduced, she and her children, to chattel. So we have a sacred responsibility to do that. And so everything we do, every thought, every word, every deed, every event, we like to use it to heal Mama Africa and to heal humanity. And so we feel an awesome sense of responsibility. We feel overwhelmed, but we feel empowered and capable and up to the task.
There is a new surge, a new uprising. It's a new move of the melanated nations across the world. I'm not sure what has been driving this poetry festival in Jamaica, But when you look at what has been happening worldwide in relation to the uprising of our melanated people across the world, the empowerment of our people, the reclaiming of our rightful position in the world, the acknowledgement of our history as a nation, the magnitude of the force to reclaim. You look at all these elements in and of themselves, and you realize that something absolutely serious is happening across the world. While all of this is going on, you see the drive to technically subdue the nations at the same time. What is your take on it moving into the Poetry Festival on August 8th? Talk.
Why? Because you have good answer that I know. In 2010, 2011, thereabout, there's a poet in America called Amiri Baraka that abandoned his garment of flesh. And before he did that, he made a diamond wish and gave us a diamond gift. And he gifted his spirit and essence to the black poets of the world. I came across that information through Saul Williams, and I was really inspired by it. And so much so that I did an interview with JIS, Jamaica Information Service, that same year, and I predicted that we are entering into the era of poetry, because we recognize that a great poet gifted his essence and spirit to the poets of the world. Now, if you realize what the poets of the world are, let us do a quick reflection on the world history and the history of language. I think that languages were embedded in poetic genetic memory codes into the human faculty. And so we as poets, we are capsules and repositories of that retentive memory and imprint and upload. And so over time, we think we have a responsibility within the family of the performing and creative arts to infuse that into the lives and liberty of people who we come in contact with, whether through telepathic intuition, music, poetry, literature, or whatever. And so what we think has happened, my brother, once Mama Africa was crucified, remember, we didn't surrender. We were not slaves, even though we were enslaved. I want you to remember that. So don't get it twisted. Because if the conqueror tell the story that they often do, then they vilify the conquered people and empower and uplift the conquerors as if they are benevolent. So we have to debunk those false notions and narratives. And so we are a people who have been fighting from day number one. And so we build on it. But as you rightly said and inserted here, there are always forces trying to push us back. So we have to focus, make the four them cost, accentuate the positive, which will overwhelm the negative. Energy flows where attention goes. So as we build and raise the awareness, we have to shift the focus, make the four them cost. We don't think it's by accident that word is spelled focus and so on. So as our people grow in awareness and keep the focus, even a critical mass, the distraction won't turn us back. The ancestors are on our side. Prophecy and history are on our side. And so we keep working relentlessly, and we are changing the tide, because you and I know that once you have a critical mass that brings things to a tipping point, even the universe becomes our servant and work on our behalf to make the positive change and to help us to ultimately conquer evil with good. So I think that what you are speaking to and what you see happening now is a reflection of what I've said and more. I mean, don't forget the work of people like Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Miss Lou, the greats in the reggae music and the literature and the poetry and the labor movement and civil rights movement and the environmental movement and the whole of the thing is culminating. And so what I am predicting now, I'm not a prophet, but I'm just analyzing and predicting based on what has happened and the patterns that are consistent and ever present in nature. We have now embarked in the dispensation of poetry. And notice me say poetry and not poetry. The poetry of life, which will nurture the genetic memory bank of the ancient future. So we are doing like black magic as melanated people. Remember, we are nothing, but nothing is really not 10. So we have everything within us. And we're not looking outside of ourselves. And the more we look within and find resources that are inherent and roll it out, yo, Babylon get crumpled.
Look here,
So
Chief.
right
Look here. I'm listening to you very carefully. The magnitude of your words is nothing to take lightly, and I'm hoping that our viewers are taking this very seriously. My thing is this: you look at the current. We're still talking about the Jamaica Poetry Festival 2021, but
plain and simple.
but as an extension of this topic, you look at the fear across our communities. You look at the down pressure that is currently happening in Jamaica, in Barbados, in Uromi, in all parts of the world. And one would wonder, will our people ever rise above this? There's a subtle pressure. They're not telling you that you must get the injection, but they're telling you, go get it. Because if you don't, you can't work. If you don't, you can't eat. If you don't, you can't fly. If you don't, and yet they're not telling you that it is mandatory, but they're telling you, if you don't, you can't. Now, here comes the Jamaica Poetry Festival 2021. Next month, August, technically next month, because it's very shortly, August 8th. How is all of this integrated into this presentation? I'm not sure if it's driving it in any way. Talk with us about that.
You think you're normal, Chief? Anyhow, you are going on, my brother. We take a principled stance, maybe diplomatic to some extent, but militant and assertive. And we want, first of all, me and my daughter throw down the gauntlet, put up the gauntlet. We won't be violated. That's not up for debate. It's plain and simple. But we are not interested to violate anyone. We not chuck nothing down about the truth. We are into consensus building through consultation and reasoning. We are into making informed choices and informed decisions. So our mandate is really to empower the people to inform yourselves, inspire yourselves, and function as sovereign beings. Listen what I mean by that. If the 1 cent or the $1 don't have a value, then the $5,000 bill won't have a value. If the individual is not a sovereign entity, there is no sovereign nation. So we as sovereign beings must make sovereign decisions that govern our temple, which is the habitation of the Almighty God and Goddess. God never left him woman yet. So what happened now is that we are not really telling people what to do or not to do, except that we are inspiring them to inform yourselves, empower yourselves, equip yourselves to make critical, life-changing decisions in the best interest of yourself and your nation and whatever thing you belong to. So, while some people may interpret our song one way or the other, the point is that we are saying no violation to ourselves, and we're not interested to violate anyone. Be it another individual, be it the puss or the dog or the plants or the sea or the animals. So we are promoting social responsibility within the family and the community, environmental responsibility, both to Mother Earth and the other inhabitants and supporters of the life of Mother Earth. And so we realize that when the fire is going out, it blazes up for one last time. We have been dispossessed, because Mama Africa is the mother of all, bar none. And Mama Africa has been gang raped. So she has been gang raped by her own children, which is sacrilegious, incestuous, and diabolic. That won't last forever. So the forces of that indignity and that genocide are still active. Them no sleep neither day or night. So if we want to fall asleep and the work is your own voluntary genocide, that we don't want to be a part of that. So we have to wake up, rise up and live, make informed choices and informed decisions, asserting and preserving your individual sovereignty, which will extend to the sovereignty of whatever group you align with, and of which you have the right and the responsibility. But I don't know if it sounds like a philosophical answer, you know, but are the best we can do at the minute.
My brother, listen, sir. For the benefit of all our friends who are just joining us, I'm going to put this up again. This is all about Jamaica Poetry Festival 2021. And it will be broadcast live here, right here on PSR Network. This August 8th, 2021, 2 p.m. Jamaica time, which will be 3 p.m. across the Eastern Caribbean. So, as it is posted live out of Kingston, Jamaica, we will pick up the stream, and of course, you will be watching it live across the rest of the world right here on PSI Network. So prepare yourselves for that. It plans to be an absolutely wonderful presentation. And of course, it will be all across the Caribbean region, right in your home via PSI Network. Nothing to take lightly. It plans to be an amazing presentation. Artists of the highest caliber will be present. And of course, the king himself is absolutely a very humble man. He's not going to try to blow it out of proportion and woo you to come, because it is that good. You just cannot miss it. From me to you, you can't miss it. If you miss it, it's to this. To miss is to this. It's that good. The Jamaica Poetry Festival 2021.
Well, look at now.
High caliber. Talk to me, Chief.
When we are, as you say, we don't believe in a drenching people. We carry it to the brook and we said, oh, here is water. It's good to hydrate yourself. It's good to flush your system. But unless you're sick and incapable, we won't really force a nipple buckle down your throat. We passed that era.
Yes.
So we are presenting palatable food for thought. Make your informed decision. We not beg nobody none. We are not beggar, we are not thief, we are not robber. We not run behind people. We respect you, your individual right and your sovereignty, and we are presenting to you respectfully with humility and honor, saying, here we have it. Look at our track record. We are not hidden. It's there. You go to YouTube, you see what we did last year. You do any search on any search engine in the world, you see what we have been doing. We don't have any hidden agenda. And so you could decide if you want to be a part of it. If you ask me, then I will say, no, listen, you'll be further impoverished if you miss something like this. It is rich. It is wealthy.
Yes.
It's food for thought and thought for food. Listen to me now, my brother. We are like magicians. And we're saying it humble, but with authority. What happened is that, my brother, we have been victims of, this is a term that I've developed to describe what I'm speaking to now. We have been victims of what I describe as neuro-linguistic sorcery. May I repeat it?
Yes, sir.
May I repeat
Talk to me.
Listen to me. We have been the victims, or we were engineered to be victims. However, we refuse. Most of us refuse, I would think, to be the victims of neuro-linguistic sorcery. No, we have the antidote to reverse that. As melanated kings and queens and gods and goddesses of the earth, to reverse the thing, to reset, realign, and recalibrate, and draw from the immortal, ever-living spring of life, to ensure that we retain and retrieve life, to uplift and raise up us to the levels of gods and goddesses with which we have been blessed by the Almighty.
Yes.
And so we would like to think that we are offering a little meal and menu that is good for the health and the reversal of the neuro-linguistic sorcery, which we have been, what would I call it now? Which we have been subdued largely.
We have been bewitched.
Which we have been, oh Lord, my brother, listen, you could use bewitched. We have been bewitched.
That's the whole point. Bewitched.
Listen to Stokey Carmichael, our brother Kwame Ture, which yes. We have been bewitched and possessed. Ouch. So what we are doing with Jamaica First Festival is exorcising the devils and the demons and the witches and the evil spell that Bob Marley spoke about.
Look here, sir. People don't understand that when the Rastaman speaks, I've learned over many years. You normally hear people talk about the Rastaman start. I and I don't eat salt, and I man don't eat pork, and I don't this and that. And you know, it's recently people realizing that salt really sending up your pressure, and pork full of worm and maggot, and if you eat it, your body become possessed by these parasites, and all the rest of garbage that goes along with it, which we are now just learning. Now, the fact that the Rastaman is ahead of time with the knowledge is very significant in relation to what is done by the Rastafari, or I should say the Rastafarian community. Most of us are waking up to this reality. Some people are still yet to get it. Help us to understand where you are in terms of the knowledge, in terms of the vision, in terms of debunking the myths that we have been taught. Talk to us.
Right. Building out from the idea of neuro-linguistic sorcery and what they call the diet, which is a part of the neuro-linguistic sorcery, to be embedded words that undermine the holistic reality of our existence. And so they feed us with blood and starch, while we are electric beings that should be eating electric carbonated melanated food.
Yes.
So the religion, the miseducation, the colonization of our parliament, social, economic, religious, political, educational life, the military, the police, they have not been decolonized. You know. Our minds have been enslaved and not been decolonized either. The language and the neuro-linguistic sorcery, the thing that you eat to keep your life going, they call it a diet because they want you to die and not live. This is a part of the neuro-linguistic sorcery. Let me explain further to you, my beloved brother. You used a word earlier called downpression, and I was so inspired when you chose that word. Now, let us dissect it to explain what I mean by neuro-linguistic sorcery. By the sonic identity of that word, by the graphic, symbolic, and literal representation, by the juxtapositioning of concepts and thoughts and images and sounds, it suggests the word oppression that you are lifting us up, while in truth and in fact, you are pressing us down. Now that disparity gives a loophole to which they feed the neuro-linguistic virus. So you suffer from schizophrenia and split personality and splintered personality. To love your enemy.
Yes.
To love your enemy. And hate your family and your friends.
Yes.
Because, listen, because subliminally, neuro-linguistic sorcery is suggesting that your enemy are lifting you up and your friends are pressing you down.
Wow.
You understand me, brother?
Yeah, man. Go on, reason it out, my chief, because we need to hear.
Why should we be under the stand when we are under the stand for 500 years? We need a 360-degree bird's eye view. Inside, out, outside, in, so above, so below, so within, so without. So we are saying now, the neuro-linguistic sorcery possess your mind and your language and your tongue Remember, for colonialism to have worked, the colonial so-called masters had to cut out your tongue and plant a false tongue of vipers and bewitchment.
Wow.
So now we are reinstating the tongue of life that we speak truth to power.
Tell me something. Tell me something.
Speak into our lives and speak lives into our words. I'm sorry, my brother.
No, because this is serious reasoning. I'm now linking this to the Jamaica Poetry Festival, which is going to be happening first phase August 8th. How will all of this knowledge be fused into the festival itself? Because I'm sure all the parties who will be engaged in this production technically are pretty much like-minded, technically understand the whole duty to engage in the education of our people. While it is supposed to be education, what?
No, let me just take it out of your hand right now.
Yeah, talk with us.
Listen, my brother. I am the chief chef with help from the staff, designing a menu to make you new and renewed. And we are taking the ingredients from the poetry of life, Poetree of life, which is the immortal tree of life. And we are preparing a banquet that will help to reset and realign and recalibrate and exorcise the neuro-linguistic sorcery of the indignity of the crucifixion of the transatlantic genocide, which has contaminated our institutions and our languages and our religions and our cultures and our creative and artistic and intellectual and spiritual expressions. The human temple is the first habitation of the Almighty God and Goddess, the yin-yang male-female principle. And so our melanin temple, which is between the two temples, should be inhabited by the king and queen, just like the black box of an aircraft. And so they have been engineering and re-engineering to make sure so the melanin temple is inaccessible and uninhabitable. Like you have a brand new battery. Listen to me carefully. You have a brand new battery for your car, but the terminals are corroded. So they have been using calcium fluoride and sodium fluoride through toothpaste and through water and through food and through miseducation and religion to contaminate the melanin temple, to make the melanin temple uninhabitable and inaccessible to the Almighty God and Goddess of the creation. We are now finding formula to cleanse the melanin temple through word, sound, and power, through the poetry of life, to exorcise and to cancel and neutralize the bewitchment that you alluded to earlier. We are not arrogant, but one cocoa full basket, and sometimes less is more. So we are giving you a microscopic prescription that can start and continue the process.
Let me say a very special good evening to all our viewers across the world, wherever you're watching us from. I see Chief Tonic, the Urome Paramount Chief. And of course, we appreciate your comments here. And to all other peoples who are watching us right now, gosh, the list is long. I'm not going to begin to call names here because I might get in trouble. Welcome. Please share this live with all your friends because we are now talking about the Jamaica Poetry Festival 2021. And of course, we have the lion behind the production right here on PSI Network. And of course, we're having quite a very interesting discussion in relation to the program and all attributes thereof. Yes? As we seek to keep our people educated and informed while we continue to promote this program, which promises to be an absolutely amazing production this year. For those of us who are just joining us, I am going to again give you a little snippet of a song. Well, it is actually poetry, but poetry with music in a very simple form to give you an idea of what King YASUS AFARI and his daughter did together. Don't touch that dial. We'll come back in a minute.
Let me tell you that playing and till you blue and wrinkle, or smile till you spoil for your dimple. Oh no, now go violate for me temper. Let me tell you that plain and simple. Oh no, now go violate for me temper. Let me tell you that plain and simple. Evil doers come with long nigger, searching for the strong and feeble. But with humility and no simplicity, and we people now go take no more brutality. The Almighty guide and protect we, so make we lead out the redemption army. Burn down Babylon this 21st century with them hypocrisy and them idolatry, contaminating for we humanity. Oh, you can't violate for me temper. Let me tell you that plain and simple. Oh no, now go violate for me temper. Let me tell you that plain and simple. You could have screwed till you blue and wrinkle, or smile till you spoil for your dimple. Oh no, now go violate for me.
Let me welcome you back to the Raw Truth. And of course, we are having a very interesting presentation right here with YASUS AFARI. I call him King YASUS AFARI, the king, the lion behind the production, the Jamaica Poetry Festival 2021. This has been an amazing program, and it continues to expand and grow. And of course, this year, it will be broadcast right here live on PSI TV, PSI Network, PSI TV live broadcasts on YouTube, and PSI Online Radio. All the PSI platforms will be hosting this event this year. So spread the word, share the word across with your friends, all the Rastafarian friends of ours across the world. Share this among your friends, because it will definitely be an amazing production right here on PSI Online Radio, PSI TV, PSI, all PSI platforms, moving into the end of the year. The first presentation will be August 8th. And of course, don't let anyone tell you about it. You have to be here yourself to see this. First international of its kind. I think the platforms have grown significantly. Tell us, give us an outline again as to all the broadcast platforms that you'll be hosting this one this year, my king. Go ahead, talk with us.
Thank you very much. Well, before we do that, someone put something up in the chat a while ago. You refer to him as a chief, and his expression suggests that he is speaking about writing our own destiny. And we are saying, as poets again, if you're not right, you're wrong. So we have to tell the story of the hunted and of the vilified and of the people who they thought they have conquered. So we have to write to make things right, and we have to seek to find the silver lining behind the dark clouds so that we keep shining. And so to help us continue the shining light of poetry and the creative and performing arts, we have the stable and capable support of the PBCJ, Public Broadcasting Company of Jamaica. You can find them on all the different platforms as PBC Jamaica. It's a statutory entity that operates out of the Office of the Prime Minister in Jamaica. So we have it on cable, and it's on all the social platforms. Also, we are happy for the very first time to have the very potent and competent support of the PSI network family. And as a part of that support, we are here now speaking to the 11th annual staging of Jamaica Poetry Festival, which will be on Sunday, August 8, 2 p.m. Jamaica time, featuring performers from around the world. But we are also having the support of our Virgin Pickering from Anguilla, KCN, as also Oral Ofori, who is a Ghanaian living in Washington, D.C. He operates, among other things, the African Dream, and they access 250,000 households in the United States, Mexico, the Caribbean, and beyond, as well as continental Africa. We're also having the support of the Jamaica TV radio, and you can find that on YouTube as Jamaica, one word, TV radio, another word. And we are also getting support from internet stations around the world, in London, in Brazil, in Africa, Zimbabwe, Ghana, Nigeria, all across other parts of the Caribbean, other media houses in Jamaica, the print media as well, and the poetry network around the globe. So we are very happy and very grateful for this support, which will allow us to reach a wider audience, especially for the offering that we have, which, as we said earlier, we have people like the one and only Linton Kwesi Johnson. We also have the current poet laureate of Jamaica, Dr. Olive Senior. She prefer me to call her Olive Senior, so I'll call her Olive Senior. Dr. Vilma Pollard, one of our iconic literary giants. We have also the 6th greatest guitarist of all times, Ernie Ranglin. We have Coco Lorraine, who is a singer, poet, motivational speaker par excellence from Canada. We also have Be Expressive Soul from Canada. We have our brethren Alcalde from Brazil. We have Stephen Wise as well. We have Akin Sanya. We have myself and Mick. We have Bob Guns from Amsterdam, Netherlands. Who else we're leaving out now? So we among others, you know, so as not to left anyone out. So we have really an eclectic mix of giants of poetry, not just in Jamaica and the Caribbean, but all parts of the world. And so it's clean and intelligent fun for the entire family. We also have a diplomatic injection from Ambassador, I call her the presidential ambassador, Shauna K. Richards, as well as Dave Collymore, representing Asia Pacific region. We have Steve Wise, we said his name earlier. And don't forget Ernie Ranglin. So it's not just about poetry, it's the entire spectrum of the creative and performing arts. And you have my brethren who, in name called, for a little help here, so I'm from the paper, Emerson Alcalde. He's a brilliant, maybe the penultimate poet from our community in Brazil. He'll be with us as well. And we said Coco Lorraine, plus we have special surprise guest performers. And we start 2 p.m. Jamaica time, sharp. So for you in BVI, it will be 3 p.m. And people can work out, you know, the other time lines elsewhere using the Jamaica time as a reference point. It's 2 p.m. sharp. And we are available all across social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the different websites and the cable channel of the Public Broadcasting Company of Jamaica, as well as the PSI network. You know it better than I do. We are from that region. You are very well acquainted with the formidable work. I'm just new to the amazing work you are doing, and so happy to be supported by you, as well as KCN and our partners in Washington, D.C., the capital of America, the African Dream. And it's interesting that's the name of our African partners, because we have a vision of the reunification of Mama Africa and of the healing of humanity. And the world will once again be governed from the continent, the continental mothership of Mama Africa.
Wow. Wow. What can I say? I'm actually baffled by the magnitude of this production. This is huge. And for those of us who are not accustomed to such amazing productions, this one is definitely going to be blowing your socks off, as King YASUS AFARI brings to us another absolutely potent Jamaica Poetry Festival this 2021. And of course, it is something we're looking forward to. It will be broadcasted right here on PSI TV. And of course, you can prepare yourselves to join us. It will be on August 8th. And it will be happening at, let me put up the flyer again so you can see the time. It will be happening at 2 p.m. Jamaica time, which is 3 p.m. Eastern Caribbean time. So this is something that we all need to look out for. And of course, it will be absolutely an amazing production that you cannot afford to miss. So please share this with all your friends. It will get a lot more interesting right here on PSI Network as we take you up to speed in relation to what is happening. I'm not sure what else King YASUS might have in his under his hat, but I'm sure as we get closer to the time, he'll be rolling out some more stuff for us to see and know and learn and hear as we move forward. Well, time has flown, and goodness gracious, they said time does fly when you're having fun. What else do you want to throw at us, King YASUS? Talk with us.
Well, my brother, we can't stop saying how grateful I am for your support, and how thankful I am, and for your listeners, and how much we are looking forward to this event. Throughout the day, our plain and simple challengers from around the world will be on board throughout the day on our social media platforms to, what would I say, infuse snippets of empowerment through what we call creative synergies. So sharing best practice, sharing some know-how and some techniques in the creative and performing arts, in entrepreneurship, cultural entrepreneurship, in how best to do certain things and to navigate the social media platforms, as well as to share the best practice in poetry and the other areas of the creative and performing arts, how we can build institutions, because we are really promoting this year in particular across the African diaspora and the Jamaican diaspora, institution building. We don't want no quick fly-by-night, nothing. We pass them stage a long time. We have to be consistent. We have to be continuous. Continuity is important. Consistency is important. Institution building is important among our community in particular, and by extension among other inhabitants of the planet Earth and members of the human family. But we are focusing principally on the Afrocentric vision. We have to look for self. We are practicing the notion of Ubuntu. I am because we are. And so that is what will inform the workshops, and that is what is informing the 11th staging of Jamaica Poetry Festival in particular, because we are fusing together social awareness with social responsibility, environmental awareness with environmental responsibility. We are challenging environmental injustice, and we are challenging social injustice. And so we are advocating environmental awareness and responsibility, as well as cultural and social awareness and responsibility. We are trying to be better human beings by creating and sustaining better relationships with our children, within the family, within our extended family, within our community, within our nation, within our family of Africa, and within the family of humanity. Because Mama Africa is the original womb and custodian and cradle for humanity on the planet Earth. And so we need to pivot forward. What has happened to Mama Africa is that she is the cradle of humanity. However, the world is now being ruled from a cemetery. So we have been shifted from life to death, and we have to shift it forward to the cradle of humanity, the cradle and the womb of humanity. So we shift from death to life. So we conquering death and the grave. We are a people who were crucified and buried, but the tomb conspired with us and became a womb. And we are the children that are being born from that construct and that reality. So we are immortal beings, being capsules of energy. And energy, by definition, cannot be created and cannot be destroyed, but can be transformed from one state of existence to the next. And so we defy death and the grave by the power of the Almighty. And so we are reinstituting Mama Africa as the custodian of the planet Earth and the human family for this immortal journey of the ancient future, which I describe by kinetic inertia.
Well,
you say you're laughing. You know something where we don't know enough.
We need to come back to class. We need to come back to class for more. This is not indoctrination. It's not church. This is ancient history, and I think we need to understand our genealogy in relation to the practical reality of our existence as a people that has been hidden from us for centuries. It's disgraceful. Happily, we are now catching up, and by virtue of that, the Rastafari community is 10 steps ahead of most of us, because it has equipped itself to understand the laws of our history, the lies which were told to us, and by virtue of that position, we are now launching the Jamaica Poetry Festival, which I'm sure is not necessarily dominated by Rastafarians, but by people of like minds who are absolutely very equipped to help to educate our people moving forward. And absolutely very.
Sorry,
Go ahead, sir.
I'm happy you said that, because we don't want to give the impression like it's a religious cult or anything. It just so happened to be a Rastaman who are the chief architect of this thing. We're not advocating Rastafari. We practice interfaith and religious and spiritual tolerance. And we, in harmony with the words of His Imperial Majesty, says that the different religious and cultural and linguistic expressions of people are like the loving fingers of the hands of the Almighty. And neither the Almighty nor humanity want to do without a finger. You notice how the thumb going like in standoffish, but when things ready, we come together. So we don't have to worry about our differences. Variety is the spice of life. Unity does not mean uniformity. Unity does not mean uniformity. And so it's all people of humanity. No matter what skin you want, where you come. No matter what religion you want to practice. No matter what language you want to speak. No matter what culture. No matter your social orientation, economic or social status or standing. We are saying one earth, one love, one humanity. We all have an interest in this, because Mama Africa gave birth to all, bar none. The Europeans just run out of melanin on the journey of life, you know. So their melanin diminish, but we start them out. So our people them same way. So we are build the bridge between all people. Once you breathe breath of life, you are one of us. We inhabit one planet, one history, one future, and the future of humanity is crystal clear, plain and simple. Collective survival or collective extinction. And in that connection, we don't have the luxury of choice, nor the luxury of time wasting. We have to quickly find a formula to ensure our social coexistence by social justice, because only social justice can bring about lasting peace and tranquility. So we are about the healing to find social truths and rights and justice to bring us together on a foundation of truth and right and justice to inhabit the immortal future.
My honorable king brother, I tell you, my king, my brother, we're a great nation indeed. I must say very special thanks to all our viewers, especially our YouTube viewers. We have a lot of folks on Facebook as well, but I must commend our YouTube viewers for coming on. And of course, please subscribe to the channel, that as we move forward, whenever we put out our notifications, you will get them as well. Please share this with all your friends. It will become an absolutely important notice, because the Jamaica Poetry Festival will be blazing come August 8th, and that's the first leg of the presentation. As we move forward, make sure that you connect with the PSI network, PSI TV. Click on the link, become a member. PSI Network, click on the link, become a member. YouTube, on YouTube, you have the PSI TV live broadcast. Click on that subscribe button as well, become a member, because this is going to be the only place in the Caribbean region, in the Eastern Caribbean, where you will find YASUS and Mick blazing in the Jamaica Poetry Festival, which will be a flood of other, what can I say?
Look at Chief.
Yes.
People who don't have no phone in our hand, no, or don't have no laptop and other things. Just Google that Aboriginal name Linton, Linton, KWESIJOHNSON. The only living black poet to be published by Penguin. Ernie Ranglin, he's formerly Ernest Ranglin, RANGLIN, the top 6 guitarists of all times anywhere on the planet Earth. He's a Jamaican. He'll be there with us. He's our guest of honor. Dr. Velma Pollard, VELMA POLLARD. She is our Lifetime Achievement Awardee. We also have our current poet laureate, one of our iconic and literary giants of Jamaica. She's Olive Senior. She's actually honorary doctor, but she prefer me to call her Olive Senior. We have our brethren, alcalde from Brazil. We have Coco, C-O-C-O, L-A-R-A-I-N from Canada. We have B, Expressive Soul, formerly Brittany Russell. She's joining us from Canada as well. We have Akinsanya, A-K-I-N-S-A-N-Y-A. We have Stephen Wise, who works with the likes of Stevie Wonder and Boys to Men. We have our ambassador to Japan. She's be addressing the notion of cultural diplomacy. She's Ambassador Shauna K. Richards. We have Dave Collymore, who represent the Association of Jamaicans in Japan and the Asia Pacific region. We have myself and my daughter Mick performing public for the first time as a duo with a hit single and hit video and hit challenge on our hand, plain and simple. And we also have special surprise performers. We have Bob Gans, who is a giant from the Netherlands, Amsterdam specifically. And we have special surprises. And we start 2 p.m. sharp like a guillotine, Jamaica time, on Sunday, August 8th. And it's a 2-hour program, so you don't want to miss anything. Available on PBC Jamaica, PBCJ, Public Broadcasting Company of Jamaica, and the cable TV networks, Flow and Digital in Jamaica, as well as on all the social media platforms as PBC Jamaica on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. And then you have the one and only PSI network, the voice and face of the Caribbean, will certainly be bringing you, and we start already. And our partner in Washington, D.C., the African Dream, and we have many others, I Just Star in London, and a whole network. Don't feel no way. Over time, we'll remember all the names, and we'll be posting them, and our partners on all the different social media platforms, and the Plain and Simple Challengers, and our YouTube network, and our WhatsApp groups, and our Facebook groups, so Instagram, Twitter. You can find us Plain and Simple Movement, and new, but we are there now. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You'll find myself, YASUS AFARI, on all the platforms. My website as well, yasusafari.com, yasusafarionline.com. Just Google the Jamaica Poetry Festival. Look at last year's presentation. It is on TVJ, Television Jamaica YouTube channel with pretty close to 100,000 views. You can look at what we did last year, presenting poets from 10 countries, namely Iran, South Korea, Botswana, Netherlands, England, America, Canada, Barbados, Trinidad, and Jamaica. Healing up our brother from Trinidad, Brother Resistance, our brother from Barbados, Winston Farrell, and all the other people who, Shema in Iran, Poet Choi in South Korea, all tuning in, all will be there with us. My brother Antola Molozi from Botswana, Jessica Mbangeli from South Africa. The thing na as Jamaica would say, it so we want to celebrate and spread the love and spread the healing. This is what we want to do. Jamaica Poetry Festival is give you a shoulder to lean on in this pandemic. Whether you call it pandemic, or scamdemic, or all the above, it no matter. We're having a crisis. We have to be responsible. Look out for each other. We're offering you a shoulder with the Jamaica Poetry Festival that you can lean on. Get some strength on. We're giving you our shoulders to stand on and to peep into the future and to be confident that you have to go put on your shades because the future bright. Because we have found the silver lining to keep us shining. So keep the focus, make the four of them get mad at us. Because energy flows where attention goes. So we accentuate the positive and use that conquer the negatives. We don't have nothing to worry about. We have every answer within us. So we don't have to look outside of ourselves.
King YASUS AFARI, the man himself, and of course, quite a powerful note there as we wrap up this session. Time does fly. I think you'll have a lot more to share over time. This is the relationship we share with our brothers and sisters over there in Jamaica, Atlantis, otherwise called Jamaica. One nation, one people, one love everywhere you go. And of course, the Jamaica Poetry Festival this August 8th at 2 p.m. in Jamaica. And of course, across the Caribbean, we're 1 hour ahead of the rest of the ahead of Jamaica. You can catch us at 3 p.m. across the Eastern Caribbean. And I think in the USA, we're 1 hour ahead of Jamaica. And of course, that is August 8th. That's the Poetry Festival that's coming at you in flying fine style. It's not going to be anything normal. Share this link with your friends. Please promote it. I'm going to be sending out the flyer a little later on. Share it with all your friends. And of course, join us for the move. For those of us who can watch or listen, it will be all over the place for you to catch up with it. I'm not sure what else you might have to share with us, King YASUS, because, boy, trust me, I think we have covered quite a bit tonight. Final words as we close.
We just give thanks for your kindness and your generosity. I've been given so much accolades and titles this evening that my head swell big from my shoulder, but I'm used to it. And so we give thanks, my brother. I'm humbled and I'm honored and I'm empowered by your generosity of spirit and your good vibes. Just in case people get it twisted, this is just the appetizer. All we do this evening is just give you a fresh drink of water to flush the bowels and feel ready for the little steps of appetizing leading up to the 8th, where you're going to get the full course at the 11th annual staging of Jamaica Poetry Festival, Sunday, August 8, 2 p.m. Jamaica time. A feast of the arts for the entire family. Clean, intelligent, fun. And may the Most High, our ancestors, the Almighty, bless it and set it. And as we say, Rastafari, bless it and set it. So we give thanks. PSI to the world. Remember we told you, plain and simple.
Plain and simple, the man YASUS AFARI himself. And of course, fun. I mean, he's just warming up to this. This is not a joke. And of course, thank you so much, King, for coming on. And of course, we will be catching up a little later on as we continue to blaze this across the world, moving into August 8th for the first presentation of the Jamaica Poetry Festival. Guidance, peace, salutations.
Salute. Love and honor and prosperity.
Yes, I respect and thing to the man. And of course, for those of you who have joined us, you remember, make sure that you lock in to PSI Network for all the updates leading into the Jamaica Poetry Festival. It is huge this year, and it will continue to spread as we continue to share with you across the Eastern Caribbean region and the rest of the world. An amazing production coming out of Jamaica. I'm seeing in the live where some of you are saying that if you could travel, you would travel there live to take this in. Yes, you know Jamaica is a place for fun. Can done. Fun can done. This is where it is. It's a music fest technically, but it's poetry. It's fun, poetry, edutainment, as the king himself called it. Nothing to take lightly. As we move out, let me play the King YASUS did a piece with his daughter. They'll be also on stage. And of course, I love that piece. It's a very nice piece. I think it's perhaps quite fitting for this COVID madness, I call it. Now go violate my temple. Boy, I tell you, that's whatever that means to you. That's what it means. All right? Peace, guidance, and more autonomy and prosperity to our peoples across the world. Guidance and peace. Until we catch up next Monday, take care of yourselves. We're out with YASUS. I now violate our temple. Check this out.
fighting for the strong and feeble. But with humility and no simplicity, and we people now go take no more brutality. The Almighty guide and protect we, so make we lead out the redemption army. Burn down Babylon this 21st century with them hypocrisy and them idolatry, contaminating for we humanity. Oh, you can't violate for me temper. Let me tell you that plain and simple. Oh, no, now go violate for me temper. Let me tell you that plain and simple. You could have screw till you blue and wrinkle, or smile till you spoil for your dimple. Oh, no, now go violate for me temper. Let me tell you that plain and simple.